Mark.
Hey, Elaine. It's date night.
This is an unexpected date night.
Well, it was unexpected for you, but expected for me.
So today I have... What is it? Just to let everyone know, it's Monday. It's not even like a Friday or a Saturday. It's Monday night. I have ran a conference today. I'm very tired. You...
joy.
You have had a busy day at work as well. And yet, in the car, on the way home, he said to me, should we do a date night tonight? And I was like... Maybe because I was so tired, I was like, yeah, go on then. But you said there was a particular purpose to this date night, which has intrigued me.
Yes. This is a film I wanted doing for a long time, and we are in a window where it is relevant.
Is it the Christmas one? That's the only thing I could think about.
Well, you have to see, weren't you?
But then, I think we've seen quite a lot of the Christmas films. It's
not a Christmas film.
It's not a Christmas film. Okay, right.
You'll
have to see.
You'll see in 10 seconds later.
Okay. Do you want to give me some clues to see if I can work out what it is, or would we be here for 3 years?
Well, okay. I don't think I'm going to give you any clues. Okay. I'm not sure if you've actually heard of this film.
Okay, right.
Have you heard of Escape to Victory?
I have, and yet I know nothing about it.
Okay.
Is it an old film?
It is in our lifetime.
Yeah, well, oh no, right, sorry. You know, I'm thinking in our lifetime. Yes, but all films have been... I know all films.
Yes, man with movie camera in our lifetime, yeah.
So it's 1980s plus.
It's 1981.
Right, oh, right, okay.
What were you about to say?
Sorry, I was like, I thought it was going to be something like 50s or 60s, something like that. But,
it's somewhat of a cult film, but it's got... So I tell you, it's got Oscar-winning actors in it. Mm-hmm. It is by an Oscar-winning director, John Huston. Oh yes,
Angelica and Danny and the other Huston family.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were naming films of his, and I was like, no, not Danny. It's Annie, honey. That's the film he directed. Not Danny. It's Annie. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Whenever I hear of a Huston, I always think that because they're such a legendary family. And there's another one as well. There's another Huston that appeared in that TV show where it's in Prohibition era.
Yes, you're thinking of Jack Huston.
Thank you. Yes, what's the TV show called?
Boardwalk Empire.
Thank you. So there's another one as well. There's a lot of them.
So you don't know anything about this
No,
film?
Clearly not. Look at me yabbering on about the Hustons.
Yes.
Okay.
Tell you, it stars a National Treasure Oscar winner in Michael Caine.
Oh, right, okay. My name is Michael Caine.
It stars a lot of other people who have been Oscar nominated as well. People who you would like, absolute world famous celebrities.
Yeah, so when they come up on the screen, I'm going to be like, oh, that's so-and-so. Yes. Oh, that's right, okay.
It also stars lots of other people who you will have heard of.
Right. Now, do I need to watch the film to work out why we're watching it now?
It will be pretty obvious.
Will it be obvious?
Yes.
So you don't want to tell me now, I will just get it when I watch the film, and then
Yes.
when we come back, we can talk about why you've chosen to do it now.
This is a film that when we first did Date Night, first talked about Date Night, I've wanted to do this ever since.
Oh, right, okay.
And for reasons, it's been put back to this time. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well.
Should we get on with it?
Monday night, date night.
Let's get on with it.
How long will it take?
Well, you must realize it's my busy time. Everybody wants to escape in the good weather.
In 1942, the Nazis thought they were sitting on top of the world, never suspecting that they could be toppled in one conflict, the most unusual battle of the war.
It has been decided that a German national team will play a combined team from the prisoners of war of the occupied territories.
That's crazy. Okay, I'm ready to sign up.
Sign up, Hank.
And you ought to be exhibited in Paris like performing fleas. What about me?
Get out. A stacked game. The Third Reich's finest against a ragged bunch of prisoners of war. The Germans thought they had it made.
They couldn't run about for 90 minutes. They'd be chucking their guts up. Am I good or am I good?
What's your name?
You know my name.
What's your name?
I decided to join the team.
The American? No.
You use that bloody American style again here and you'll be barred.
Like you're playing English, I play American. Can you do it with your mouth shut?
Hey, the mouth and the hands work together. It's a team.
This match is a propaganda stunt for the Germans. It's a wonderful opportunity for us. The Allied High Command called them crazy, and maybe they were. We want you to contact the resistance for us and arrange the escape of the football team.
But I want to thank you all for your concern, but I'm really not planning on seeing Paris until after the war. Well, I'm an orphan. I have no parents, no money, I'm not married. I don't even have a pet. And anything I might say in my sleep to the contrary can't be held against me.
We don't want to be shot as a spy, do we?
No. I don't want to be shot as anything.
Victory, starring Sylvester Stallone, Michael Caine, Max von Sydow, and introducing Pele.
How'd you like to play football against the Germans?
Why not?
Is the time for heroes. Victory. You've never seen anything like it.
Do, 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 do. You've got to admit, the music of Escape to Victory is very, very similar to The Great Escape.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of borrowed things here. I mean, it was a lot of the reviews at the time said that this film was a mix of The Great Escape and The Longest Yard, stroke Mean Machine as it was known in the UK. Are you aware of that film?
I think I know the remake.
So there's two remakes.
Okay.
There is... So it was originally... Burt Reynolds is a former footballer who's in prison who has to train up a team against the guards.
Squad. Yeah.
It's been remade twice. Once as The Longest Yard in the UK with... Adam Sandler.
Oh, really?
Doing it, yeah.
That does ring a bell, actually.
And then once as The Mean Machine, which is a British version where it's soccer, association football, with Vinnie Jones.
It's Vinnie Jones. It's
Yes.
Vinnie Jones. I was just about to
Yeah.
say, is it Vinnie Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Of all the films we've watched on a date night, this is the one where I really don't know which way around you're going to go.
Would you like to know?
Well, that was kind of what I was hinting at.
There's a pause.
Yes.
I find it tonally interesting. So there are so many things that we'll come on to talk about where it moves between a very dark prisoner of war camp, references to the Holocaust.
Yes.
Which I was pleased to see, because at one point I thought, oh no, they're just going to treat this like a Butlins holiday camp and this is not what the war was. Yeah, very dark, to a lower low.
There is a bit of that.
That movement to the rather, and come on now, chaps, who's going to go to the forger and the tailor and the infrastructure of the camp. But then it moves over to the realities of the Nazi regime.
Yes.
So it flips from one to the... And I find both quite powerful, but it does move between them at quite a speed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of story in this for a 1 hour, 50-minute film where the last half hour is a football match.
Yeah.
So, in that final 80 minutes, in the initial 80 minutes, there is a hell of a lot of work to be done. And I don't remember seeing this growing up at all. And it was when I went to uni. I don't know if it's just a case of that no one that I knew was watching this or anything like that. But when I went to university, we were talking about The Great Escape. And a friend who I lived with, Brian, said to me, there's 2 Great Escapes, don't you? I was like, no, that can't be right. And he was like, no, there's 2. There's The Great Escape, like, in the 60s. But then in the 80s, there was another Great Escape, but with football, and Bobby Moore, and Pele, and Ozzy Ardiles, and Michael Caine. And I was like, right, this cannot be the case.
This is not true.
But
this is a made-up...
Back in that day, we didn't have the internet. I had to walk into campus and probably think about it about 6 months later and go, what the hell was Brian on about that time? But yeah, I I think this works on a number of levels. I think the sports element of it, of course, like you can build so many different films build this around it. I mean, I love The Mighty Ducks for the same reason as I love this. I love like the Rocky films for the same reason I love this, that you put someone up against it at the end and then they triumph against all odds in an amazing comeback that's never seen in real life versions. I mean, even like Casino Royale, I love there's a poker scene in the remake of Casino, not the remake, but the Daniel Craig version. Casino Royale, where it goes around and every single person has got like a once in a lifetime hand that you never ever see, and each one with, of course, James Bond having the royal flush that couldn't possibly be beaten. I'm a big fan of this, but I am aware of its limitations.
Yeah, I mean it's not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. Whoa. But it is enjoyable. It's tense. There's when you watch it, we rented it on Amazon Prime, and there are sort of keywords attached to it, and it was drama, tense, upbeat. It was like, that is exactly what I'm feeling about it.
I'm not convinced there's that much tension.
I think there's a lot of tension. I felt a lot of tension. I felt tension around the sports game, match, the football match. Yeah. I felt tension around that because you don't want the Nazis to win, do you?
Can you imagine?
No one wants the Nazis
if, like,
to win.
Yeah, Nazis win 5-0, the end.
You know what? To be honest with you, I really did think that's where they were going, because that would be representative of what would happen. The men who were playing the game on the side of the Allies were in prisoner of war camps. They, the camps that we see Michael Caine and his colleagues in, they make a point of saying this is not a bad camp compared to many of the others, and then you see later on the people they call the Eastern Europeans is how they refer to it in this film, but clearly people who at one point Max von Sydow says, oh well, the Nazi Party does not consider them to be people, yes. That's very powerful. So yeah, I was thinking, well, that would be totally representative. They've got a team of people who, okay, most of them are being relatively well treated, but they still wouldn't have regular and free access to food and water and training. And you see, Michael Caine, his character says that, we're in all right shape, but we're not the sort. We want regular rations. We want, proper nutrition. He asks for some beer. Yes. That sort of it. You could see that against the German team, they wouldn't stand a chance. So when we first watched it and they started scoring goals, I thought, well, that is representative of what would happen.
5-0. The players.
Genuinely, I did think, oh, that's the way it's going to go, and I was waiting for them to escape through the tunnel, for the resistance to come in. And when they got down the tunnel, I was really annoyed with them that they turned back. I was like, these poor people from the resistance, this woman has put her and her son's life, René and Francois, have put their lives at risk to look after this American bloke, and the resistance are going through the sewers to try and get you to escape, and you get halfway down the ladder and go, oh, actually, I really want to finish a football match. And I do understand the idea around it, which is this is more than just a match, this is representative, and if the Germans are going to use this as propaganda, then we can also use it as propaganda.
Yes.
And obviously they do escape in the end, but I really felt we were going down that path. So when you're saying, oh, there's not that much tension, clearly they're going to win, I did not feel that they were going to win. Well, and obviously they don't. It's 4-4, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a draw.
Yeah. It's a draw.
With a goal disallowed that shouldn't have been disallowed, so they should have won.
Yeah, all right, England football fans. I mean, it would have been brilliant had we done this when I originally planned it, and not just days after England had been knocked out by France. But that's life, I'm afraid.
But I do think there's a lot of tension to it. I think there's a lot of pathos. I mean, we're talking a lot about the game. I'm thinking about when the crowd start shouting "Victoire, Victoire" and "Victory" and singing the French national anthem. I found that quite moving. But initially, if you go all the way back to the beginning of the film, I mean, that first scene of is someone trying to escape and being killed.
Yes.
So you immediately set up the fact that people have attempted to escape from this camp multiple times, and they are losing their lives. And actually, a real sense of, I thought there was a real class a theme to it where these officers, these sort of, like I said, the rathers, and you know, and very much of the Allo Allo, of type, you know, the British Airmen.
Yes.
I got a real sense of they were just willing to let anyone try to escape, that this was a game to them. But there is a real sense of tension that you know that this has been attempted multiple times and people are dying.
So, I mean, the reading that I have of this, and I don't know whether this is true to life or whatever, but the thing is that it was a exceptional circumstance that the person at the beginning was shot, because that's why Max von Sydow comes and has to visit with the Red Cross, because a prisoner of war has been killed. And it seems like obviously there are plenty of people trying to escape because that's what they're doing, and it's a plot point in film, and I assume it is a plot point in real life, that a British officer's duty to try and I believe that's something in the Great Escape. I think it's even in Bridge on the River Kwai. But yeah.
What I find interesting, though, the officers who were in charge, they don't seem to be attempting to escape. So this is my class thing.
Yes.
This is my, you're quite happy to send all these other people out to do your dirty work, but you're not looking to escape yourself. So yeah, I find that interesting.
I don't think that is necessarily your dirty work. I think because they're not breaking out for them, they're breaking out for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the cottage industries around when he goes to have his photo taken, and it's the camera comes out, the glass comes out of the glasses to become the lens and the thing. I find
and
that
people have a
really
job with the
interesting.
tailor, the forger.
Yes, the tailor, the forger. Yeah. I love everything about this, but I know it is a bit of fluff. But I think there is a reason why it's fluff. I mean, you've got John Huston directing it, who hated this film, came out, said, "I did it for the money."
Right. Okay.
Did not consider it worthy of his time at all. You also got Michael Caine in there, who is all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different role for I mean, I'm not a big Caine enthusiast. I thought that and this is not me fat shaming it any way, shape or form, but I thought that he was a little bit on the bigger side for someone who was meant to be in a prisoner of war camp.
Well, he was in his 40s at the time, and
we all.
yes.
And I mean, I'm not having a go. I just felt that I would have expected to have seen him maybe look like he was a little bit nutritionally, you know.
I don't think there's a lot of method. No one was doing Christian Bale in The Machinist in this.
No, I mean, he didn't look like someone who had been held prisoner for a while. He didn't look like someone who was, you know, playing for West Ham, even in his younger days. But I did like him.
I know one of the players came out and said he was crap at football. He ran 20 yards and was out of breath. And
But actually, when he's in the mix, and he's, you know, because he's meant to be the captain, isn't he, and the manager.
Yes.
So he's in the mix and he's managing more than doing anything else. I thought it worked really well, and he's very commanding. Obviously, is Michael Caine. I thought his relationship with Sylvester Stallone was a real high point as well. I really liked the way that they played off each other.
What did you make of Sylvester Stallone?
I enjoy him. I mean, I really do. You know, what was his role? He was to play, you know, as they call him in the film, the Yank. You know, like he's got to play that archetypal American GI. You know, like. I know what I'm going to do. And actually in this he's really playing the like he like the con man, the con artist. They call him the con artist at one point, don't they? The sort of the person that's going to get away with everything, and I really enjoyed that about him. Like, because there's no other reading of it. It's just he's smooth. He's willing to give everything a go. He's going to give it, you know, he's going to give this escape a go. And also he comes good, doesn't he? Because you think he's very selfish, but actually every time he comes through for the team.
And he gets to meet Renee and Francois
at
the end.
Yeah, I mean, the Renee, let me just roll my eyes ever so slightly. I'm not even ever so slightly. Let me just roll my eyes massively at the fact that the only woman in this film is set up as falling in love with Sylvester Stallone the minute she sets eyes on him.
I mean, it's tough for them to put women roles in this, let's face it. Like, you're not going to have a tea lady walking around the... They're in a prisoner of war camp.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, when he gets out and when you get into the, you know... why did she have to be, come and sleep in my... Francois, is that your boyfriend? Oh, no, it's my son. why couldn't she have been part of, you know, and obviously she was to an extent part of the resistance because they were using the house as a safe house, but I'd like to see her being part of the strategic lead. Women were strategically leading the resistance.
Look, when we're looking at the French resistance, and I'm only going by the only historical document I know and that's Allo Allo.
Yeah, exactly. Listen very carefully, I shall say this. Like,
she was only in it for knobbing Renee.
She wasn't. She did not do anything with Renee.
I
you
guarantee.
do not know Allo Allo. You do not know Allo Allo. She didn't go anywhere near Renee. It's the waitresses in the cafe that had relationships.
I'm telling you,
with,
everyone
no
fell in
way.
love with Renee.
No.
We're going to do a rewatch, and I'm going to find
Michelle.
the bit. Not Michelle.
Not Michelle of
not
the
my
Resistance.
Michelle.
Michelle of the Resistance.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you now. I know Allo Allo. I've mentioned Allo Allo a lot in this. I really do love Allo. I realise Allo Allo is incredibly problematic, and you'd probably be banned at some point. But to me, it's a childhood memory.
Would it shock you to know that Sylvester Stallone, having done Rocky and Rocky 2 just before this, was a bit of a dickhead on set?
Oh, was he? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sad about that.
He
I really
refused to
wanted
eat with everyone and hang around with everyone else. He was going off on private jets to Paris and London in the middle of things. And he tried to insist that he scored the winning goal. And then it was pointed out what a goalkeeper does. I mean, some of this is probably legend, especially the bit of him insisting to score the winning goal. But yeah, that is how law dictates.
Well, I suppose, you know, in certain... if you read it in a certain way, you know, Michael Caine does really come across as he really doesn't like him.
Yes.
Or that it's a begrudging sort of like, I know that you're good for us in a certain way, but I don't really see you as part of this group. So it does work in that sense that he's always the outsider.
Yeah. Would it shock you to know that this is partially based on fact?
I was going to ask you if there was any element of truth to it. Did they try to do something like this?
Yes and no. I mean, everyone links this to a story which I would really recommend anyone listening to look up, which is the story of FC Start, which was not made up of Pele and Ozzy Ardiles and everything like that, but it was a group in Kiev, occupied Kiev. They're two of the best football teams in Europe at the time, Dynamo Kiev and another one which I don't believe exists anymore. And a lot of the players were working in a local bread factory as part of occupied, as it would be then, Russia or USSR, I guess. I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't know the full history. They created a football team called FC Start and had a game against the Germans.
Yeah.
They won against all odds, and it is known as the death match because players afterwards were arrested and many of them executed.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I think that was the inspiration. Obviously, it's a very different story, very different theme, but it is a really fascinating story. I'd urge anyone just to read up on the story of FC Start because it is a real tragic story from the war of these players that were just trying to play football and so how many of the players did you actually recognise?
So I know Pele. I know Bobby Moore, but I did have to say to you, is he someone I should know? Because the face just looked familiar.
Yes, he's the man who's being carried on the shoulders.
So you say Ozzy Ardiles, and when Ardiles came up in Argentina, something rang a bell for me. As soon as you said Ozzy Ardiles, it just sort of tripped off the tongue, and I thought, oh, I've heard of him, but I don't know why. Okay,
so very famous footballer, Argentinian. At this time, he was playing for Spurs.
Okay.
Obviously, it's released in 1981. In 1982, he was sent out on loan to Paris Saint-Germain for reasons.
For obvious reasons, yeah.
But yeah, absolute legend. There is their FA Cup. I think Spurs won the FA Cup in 1981. And the song was about Ozzy Ardiles, like the actual top of the pop song. Ozzy's gone to Wembley, his knees have gone all trembly. And there is just one clip which to win the cup for Tottenham is his line in the song. Also went on to manage Newcastle United in the early 90s.
I wonder whether that's where I know him. That might be it, you know, because there's just something there. Now, I'm ashamed to say I don't know any of the other players. When their names came up, I did think maybe. I mean, was it something like Mike Summersby or something?
Mike Summerby.
I don't know whether Summerby is just like a well-known sort of name or
He's
something.
a well-known player. He played a few times for England. He was retired at the time, but well-known player. His son played in the mid-90s, Nicky Summerby for Man City.
Oh, that might be it. It's just the name, yeah. But the others, I'm afraid, I don't know.
The majority of players came from Ipswich Town. Legend has it that the manager at the time, War Bobby, so Bobby Robson, came in at a game at the end of the year and said, "Anyone not got any holiday plans?" And then a few people put their hands up, like, "Yeah, do you want to be in a film?" Yeah, I mean, the one that I recognise the best is John Walk, who's the Scottish guy with the tash. Who went on to play for... I mean, he's an absolute Ipswich legend. I think he ended his career there as well. Looks exactly the same. Went on to play for Liverpool in between and stuff like that. But yeah, he was playing up until the 90s, so it must have been pretty young when this was made, I guess. But yeah, he actually had to have his lines dubbed because his Scottish accent was too strong.
Wow.
But yeah, there's Dutch players, there's Norwegian players, Danish players. They're a bit before my time of knowing football. I imagine at the time they'd probably be well-known players. I mean, Pelé retired by this point.
Yes.
But yeah, he still manages to get in his bicycle kick, his famous bicycle kick.
I mean, there is some really poor direction, I have to say, some really poor editing, and that one I thought was really clunky because they go to show you him doing the bicycle kick and then they pull away, but then they come back and then show you it multiple times in slow motion.
But you've already seen the ball go into the net.
Why not just show it in sort of normal time and then go back and give yourself, it was clunky, and there are some clunky edits with Pelé, particularly in the match where he goes off injured. He goes off sick. Well, he goes off injured, and he's suddenly in the red top, and he's turning round, and it's clearly a completely different piece of film to the rest of the. It's been filmed at a different time, and then stamped in the middle. It's not a technical term for filming, but it's just been fit in, and it is clunky. And the sporting part of it is very different to the earlier scenes with the escape and almost like the thriller. It's almost like a film, not of two halves, so no pun intended. But it's a bit like he can't quite do that action. Set pieces at the end, whereas to begin with, the tension really built up for me, and I really loved the times of the night in the camp, and you really got a sense of where everyone was and what they were doing. And then when Hatch escapes, I thought that was really, really good. So I really enjoyed the direction at the beginning, but I think it left much to the imagination towards the end.
It's tough to do sport dramatically.
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, for me, I think it flows pretty well. It's so loosely cut that you don't have to follow anything.
Yeah,
the ball is good. Oh, look, the ball is flying towards the goal.
Someone's tackled someone. Yeah.
Oh, look, Sylvester Stallone has moved 2 inches to nothing about Sylvester Stallone. So, you've heard of Gordon Banks, the England goalkeeper?
I have, yeah.
Goalkeeper in the 1966 World Cup. Offered to train Sylvester Stallone into how to be a goalkeeper, and he said not interested. He then, on his first day training, but legend has it again, separated his shoulder and broke a rib. And he thought, I'll actually listen to what people are saying and how to make a dive. I mean, I love the fact that the ball is pinged straight at him. He parries it or catches it, and then someone says, "Oh, you're not a bad goalkeeper.
You're not a bad goalkeeper. You are." Because I did think, he can't just be the trainer. Something's going to happen here.
Yes.
To make him more integral part of the match. And I did think, I wonder if he's going to end up being the goalie, because he's so because he's like rugby tackling people, isn't he? And he's always got his hands on the ball.
Yeah. And it is an absolutely horrid scene where they have to break the goalkeeper's arm.
I know.
To get him out of
I know. And it is awful. It's when they all turn away, and there are some real moments of obviously the moment where the people from the other camps come, and that is a really that's a moment of real reflection, and then and horror, and also when this guy's arm is broken, and that turning away, and that feel of we need to do this because there's more to this than
Yeah, and I mean, you're absolutely right about when the Eastern Europeans come, and it's not it's given the it's given the respect that it deserves.
Which I was worried about.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, of course, it could be played a different way, and it's used as the motivation to go ahead with this match against the wishes of the bigwigs in London.
Yeah. I did feel that there was maybe an opportunity to not just see the people from the death camps, to see them just as a homogenous group of people who had no voice.
Yeah.
And I think we would maybe do that very differently these days, because they were very much ciphers.
Yes.
They had no lines whatsoever. Yeah. We just saw them in terrible states of distress, and then looking a little bit healthier later on, but not an integral part of the team.
Yeah.
No one spoke to them.
Yeah.
Well,
They sat on the bench.
I wouldn't have expected them to, but no one speaks to them or talks to them about their experiences or asks them about themselves. They're very much shadows.
Yeah.
And I think now we might have a different view on that, and to make sure that, because if we, my feeling is, I've got right deep in my analysis, but when Max von Sydow says that these people are not considered to be people, they're not considered to have any rights, and they're not considered to be human, essentially is what he's saying, then the film almost compounds that by not giving them a voice, and by treating them as these ciphers. So I know I'm going very, very deep into something that's meant to be quite a light-hearted and, tense, upbeat drama.
Yes.
But I think if I have notes for the film, I think that was something that sort of struck me as I would have liked to have seen more there. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't expect us to go that deep in this, but
I find, you know what it is? I don't watch war films very often. So, like Saving Private Ryan, or I'm trying to think of some other big war film, like even The Great Escape I hadn't seen until a few years back, and that was just because it's always on at Christmas or something like that, isn't it? And you see bits of it. I haven't seen Band of Brothers. I'm trying to think of other war films. I avoid films about war as much as I possibly can. I find it very hard to watch, and I think because the reality of war, and I think it's I don't want to watch those sorts of things happening when I know it's happening in real life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And certainly, and I'm thinking of things like Schindler's List and things like that. I've never watched all the way through because I can't. I don't have the strength of character to be able to see it through. So when I watch a film like this, which is a film set at the time of an awful war, I can't help but reflect on the realities of that war and the way that it represents it. And I know some people, and I was thinking about this while I was watching it, I know some people who have been through the war find great comfort in these films, because it's almost like, right, okay, I can go back and I can think of the men that I served with, and this reflects the camaraderie that we had, and I would have loved to have been in, they think I would have loved to have been in that team. And I know many people who have been through the war really enjoy watching the war films. Enjoy might not be the right word, but like I'm thinking of people that I've known in my own family, for example, who would watch these films because it was a representation, whether it was realistic or not, but a representation of an experience that they had. But I do not run towards war films as a category of something that I really enjoy.
Okay, I mean
that's why I've gone into that level of analysis about that. This is what I'm not explaining it as sort of like let me talk about war films. I'm trying to answer your question of why have we ended up going into this level of analysis.
I don't think I actually asked the question like that, but yeah, fair enough.
I think I saw it in your face.
I've got a question for you.
All right.
Why is it, and this is not something to do with this film, why is it you stay away from war films?
Oh God, you're going to ask me that, aren't you?
But true,
but you love
like
a true crime.
Horrific true crime.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know whether... well, I'm saying the horrors of war, but also I do
Like,
watch some
should we go
awful
back to some
stuff.
of the things you reviewed
Yeah,
recently?
I know. I don't know. It's a question we'll just have to keep thinking about. Can we talk about Max von Sydow's character?
Yes.
Because I do find the concept of like the nice Nazi again to be I'm going to put in inverted commas, an interesting concept. And I think that's what he's played out to be, isn't he? Like he's really on their side, and he doesn't really mind that they're escaping. Or
I don't. I mean, a lot of these people have been conscripted and are fighting.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, they don't necessarily follow the ideals of the people, but yeah, they are. You know, it's what's the
That's
alternative?
why I'm saying it's an interesting in inverted commas concept.
And
not
I think
sort of saying that they're awful.
they see their opposition as human. And I think there is a human element to that, and certainly from Max von Sydow you asked a question about why he didn't do the Nazi salute.
Yeah.
And I've looked this up previously.
Yeah.
And that would be representative of, and I don't quite know what would separate it from some person doing it and some person not, of a certain period of the war. Like I think it's early 1940s. Only certain people would do the Nazi salute, whereas other people who would be fighting, who would be on the side of the Axis.
Axis of evil, yes.
Yes. Is that not World
No,
War
but
One?
no, but I won't.
Anyway, on the side. Anyway, on the baddies side.
On the baddies, yeah.
Would only just do a traditional salute.
Oh,
so
okay,
that is,
because I did see that as consistently through. Like there were certain
Yes.
officers who would not do the Sieg Heil, and some of them would. Yeah, okay.
And that is the reason why.
Because sometimes people who have, for example, Jewish heritage do play people within war films, and I know that there are certain actors who will say, okay, I will play this character, but I will not do the salute, or I will not engage in certain things. And I wondered if there was like a personal level to it. That's why I asked you the question.
I mean, it might be, but there is
the history is that
you can tie it into a narrative that actually happened. Do you know what the hardest part of this film was, apparently?
No, go on.
Finding a football stadium without floodlights.
Oh, okay.
Because nowadays, and even in the early 80s, every ground has floodlights, whereas in the 1940s, none of them would. Mm-hmm. It was all filmed the majority of it was filmed in Budapest.
Oh, was it?
Set up a concentration camp just outside it.
I honestly thought, that it was all in France, because when he goes to Paris and he's on the Metropolitan line.
I think there is some.
Obviously, it's in Paris. There. I know it's in there, but I thought, given that they were filming in Paris, I thought, oh well, they're on the outskirts of Paris and France.
Budapest's cheap, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, the scenery looked really lovely. Yeah. When he's on and actually the bit I got really excited about was when Hatch escapes and he gets on the train and he's on the train and he's going off, but when they were also on the train going through the countryside, it does look really lovely.
I did not expect you to have this sort of reaction to it.
Sorry, I feel I should apologise, because I feel I've taken this down a really dark path.
No, it's fine. I mean, look, this is Second World War. Like, it needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
And there are things in this
it's very. I mean, it's not necessarily. It's not representative of the film itself. It's just that it lends itself to discuss these issues. And actually, I would feel really wrong. My personal thing was, I would feel really wrong saying to you, oh, what an amazing film, it's so funny, and not talk about the realities of the issues that it's talking about in quite a minor form. Like, it's not dwelling on it's very much, here's a football match and we're going to win against the baddies, but it does refer to certain things within that context. So that's what. Sorry. I'm just going to end up apologising, because I just feel like
there's no need to apologise.
Well, I know. I just feel like it was you're like, oh, let's watch this film about goodies beating baddies, and I'm going, well, let's discuss the consequences of the
Yeah, but Oscar Dilly's doing a rainbow flick was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I have to say, I enjoyed the thriller element of it. I enjoyed the sporting element of it. I thought the acting was great. I liked the people who could have been in Allo Allo. So something for everyone.
I still think Michelle and Renee hooked up.
No, they didn't. Please don't
say that. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm like, it's it's like one of the things. Like she's very, she's the resistance. She's one of the leaders of the resistance. She's got no time for Renee. It's the women in the cafe and Madame Edith who loves him. Alas, he does not love her back. Who were the people who were all over him.
I'm pretty sure that he also hooked up with the German woman as well at one point.
Oh, does he?
Look, you know it better than me, but I'm pretty sure.
That Helga's off with Hair Flick.
Can we finish this thing with them singing Rocking Around the Christmas Tree?
No, we can't.
Can we finish it with Ozzy's going to Wembley, his knees have gone all trembling?
Oh, I might do.
Okay.
I'll have a think about it.
Anything else to add?
No, nothing from me.
No, nothing from me.
I'll just take it down a really dark path again, so I best stop now. 3 and a bit stars for me. I know you didn't ask the question, but I'm going to tell you the answer anyway.
3.5?
3, I'm not quite sure I'm on the half. I'm more sort of like 3.3, 3.4.
Would
I can't quite give it 3.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I'll give it 3.5. I'll give it 3.5.
Let's do the test, right?
Oh,
so
right,
it's
okay.
a Saturday afternoon, it's not on telly.
Yeah.
You're flicking through the channels.
Yeah.
And it's on.
That's
Do
really
you...
difficult.
No, right, hang on. There's nothing else
Because it's
on.
me.
Oh, right, I don't need a literal contractual agreement whether you're doing this. Do you stick with it for 10 minutes? Do you stick with it for half an hour? Do you watch it till the end?
I can't give you an answer to that. That's a really hard question.
I think that's a really good rating system.
But I would find that so difficult to give you the correct answer. I really find that straight away I'm like anxious because I don't know what the answer is.
Would you be against watching it?
No,
again?
I wouldn't be against watching it again. Although it would have to, like you say, it would have to be just on in the background at the moment. I don't think I could. If you were to say to me in a couple of months' time, "Oh, let's put Escape to Victory on," Escape to Victory,
Escape to Victory,
not
just
Escape...
called Victory,
right?
in America.
Escape from Victory, that wouldn't work, would it? If you said, "Oh, it's Saturday night, let's stick it on," I would say no. I want to watch something else. Whereas
I've just said Saturday afternoon, there's nothing else on.
Yeah, but if you were to say, "Oh, let's watch The Godfather Part 2," even though I've seen that multiple times, I would be like, "Okay, let's watch Godfather." So it's not The Godfather Part 2, is what I'm saying. It would probably, give it a few years, and I might sort of watch it again.
I mean, it's
there
not,
is my literal.
It's not even Inside Out, is it? 3.5 stars.
No, well, exactly, yes.
Yeah. But better than Crank.
Oh God, I mean, can anything be worse than Crank?
Yes, a lot of things.
No, I suppose so.
Right. Well, on that bombshell of Elaine not wanting to play with my fun and innovative rating system because she's far too literal.
I need to find the answer to the question.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
If you would like to follow us on social media, we are at The Honeymoon Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if you would like to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, it's now called, not iTunes, for the first time I've ever not called it, or a star rating on Spotify, that would really appreciate and help other people find us.
See you next time.
See you next time.
He's had a drink for a year.